In this reading, we will learn the vocabulary words listed here.
The day I learned the value of patience.
When I was 16, I spent a summer holiday with my aunt's family in a small coastal town. My aunt, a talented photographer, owned a tiny studio near the beach. She loved to frame everyday life, turning ordinary moments into beautiful pictures. I was excited because I wanted to learn something new, and I thought I could help her for a few weeks. Little did I know that this simple visit would become a turning point in my life, teaching me about hard work, responsibility, and the quiet power of patience. The first day, my aunt introduced me to the studio. The room was filled with large white walls, a wooden table covered with lenses, rolls of film, and a big black camera that looked almost like a magic box. On the wall hung a large photograph of a princess in a beautiful gown. The picture was taken many years ago by my aunt's grandfather. The princess looked calm and confident, and my aunt said that the photo was one of her favorite highlights of the whole collection. She told me that every picture has a story and that a good photographer must wait for the right moment, just like a fisherman waits for the fish to bite. My first task was to arrange the photographs in a neat order, a job that required me to be very organized. I had to sort them by date, by theme, and by color. Some pictures were of people wearing wool coats, others were of the sea at sunrise. While I was working, I noticed a small bottle of liquid placed near the chemicals used for developing film. My aunt explained that it was a cleaning solution, not a poison, but that it could be dangerous if swallowed. She warned me to keep it away from the young children who sometimes visited the studio. This reminded me that every workplace, even a small studio, has its own process and its own set of rules that must be followed. One afternoon, a man walked into the studio. He looked tired, his shirt was a little too big, and his eyes were downcast. He told my aunt that he had been unemployed for several months after a factory closed down. He missed his old job in engineering, where he used to design small machines that helped people in their daily lives. He said that he felt like life had punched him in the gut and that he did not know what to do next. My aunt listened carefully, then offered him a cup of tea. She said, "We all have a duty to help each other when we can." She invited him to stay and watch her work, hoping that maybe the quiet rhythm of photography would give him some peace. While the man was there, I saw how my aunt handled the camera with calm hands. She adjusted the focus, lifted the shutter, and waited. The moment the light hit the subject just right, she clicked. The picture that turned out to be spectacular, the man's face lit by a soft glow, his eyes reflecting a hope that seemed to return slowly. My aunt later announced that she would print the photograph, then to give it to the man as a gift. She said that sometimes a simple picture remember that they are still valued, even when they feel they have nothing left. That evening, after the studio closed, I sat on the porch and prayed for the man's future. I thought about my own life, and about how easy it is to take for granted the things we have, a roof over our heads, a warm meal, a chance to learn. I realized that my aunt's work was not just about taking beautiful pictures. It was also about giving people something to hold on to, something that could possibly change their mood or even their direction in life. The next day, a new project started. My aunt wanted to create a series of photos about the old fishing boats in the harbor. She asked me to help her frame each boat in a different way, sometimes from the side, sometimes from above, sometimes with the sunset behind. I learned how to set up the tripod, how to check the has sicked, and how to be patient while waiting for the clouds to move. The whole process took longer than I expected, and at times I wanted to give up. But my aunt reminded me that patience is a skill like any other, and that the best results often need time. When the series was finally finished, we held a small exhibition in the town's community hall. People from all over came to see the pictures. Some laughed, some cried, and many took their own photos with their phones. The man who had visited the studio earlier was there too. He stood in front of his own portrait, looking at it as if he was seeing himself for the first time. He whispered a thank you to my aunt, and then turned to me. He said, "You helped me see a new picture of my life. I think I will try to study again, maybe in engineering or something similar." His words made me feel proud. That summer taught me many things. I learned that being organized helps a lot when you have many tasks. I learned that a small kindness can have a big impact, especially for someone who suffers or feels lost. I learned that art, whether it is a photograph or a piece of music, has the power to heal. Most of all, I learned that patience is not just waiting. It is an active choice to stay calm, to keep trying, and to believe that after a long process, something good can appear. Now, whenever I face a difficult problem, whether in school, at work, or in my personal life, I try to remember the lesson from that summer. I think of the princess in the photograph, the engineer who was unemployed, the cleaning solution that could be poison if misused, and the way my aunt carefully framed each scene. I also think of the word fancy, which I used once to describe a very bright, colorful picture, and of the gentle treatment of each subject that made the images feel alive. My mind brings those images together, and I feel ready to handle the next challenge. One patient step at a time. Grammar. Simple present and past tenses are used to describe habits and past events. Past was organizing, were waiting, shows actions in progress. Modals. Could, should, might, expressibility, advice and possibility. Passive voice. Was taken, was announced, is used for actions where the doer is less important. Conditional type 1, if I work hard, I will improve, appears in the advice given by aunt. Relative clauses, who had been unemployed, that helped people, add extra information.